Who the hell puts chives on a sweet potato? I mean, it was already cooked and it should have just been microwaved or anything, but we put it on the grill because why not? We were grilling other stuff. So yeah, I admit the cooking's terrible of it, and the burniness, flavor, that type of thing, that's our fault. But and I'll say that partially the texture is our fault, but dude, it's just why? That does not work. It breaks the flavor instead of complementing it with an E. Uh, Screw it. Cool thing here, for those that are using this as a guide, which really you could. I'm not saying you should, because my voice is annoying as hell. Unfortunately, because it's not in my voice is not annoying in real life. I am. My voice isn't. I have a decent speaking voice. It comes off. This is a terrible microphone, but it comes off very poor when it isn't. And I know that factually. That isn't just me blowing my horn or anything. I've given speeches and it's worked out well. Anyway, here we go. This does not mean that he don't have good psychology. It means that this match, the rating, was maybe an 80 or something, and that 80 is higher. Sorry, 80. Think. Let's call it an 80. Let's say this match was rated an 80 before this. Okay, it's rated an 80. 90% of 80 is 72. Neither of these guys have 72 psychology, thus we get a fairly substantial ding. Given that I think Adam and Travers is like a 73 or 74, that says these guys could do something friggin' magical. It's just, ironically enough, I rolled too high. Had they not done as well, slightly, possibly, had they not done as well, I wouldn't have gotten this note, and this actually would have rated higher. It's one of the... It's... I don't know how I feel about it. Oh. Tables match. He loses. Ah, that is actually really cool. Adam Travers was put through table shortly after the referee missed an earlier moment when Jonathan Faust was put through one by Adam because of distraction by Kathleen. That is really cool. Adam? Not Travers. Ryland? This thing for a tables match, and I guess I could do that. Well, no, is that a default thing where tables could end it, and if it ends by a table, and distraction and whatnot? By the way, she does well in general for him, and they're a good pairing. He's a great top heel, by the way, which he isn't because he's not the champion or in the storyline, but he's the top heel. Yeah, he's the victor. Open call, slow, managerial, outside. I probably just need one, and yeah. But that is a really cool wording of it. That isn't what I expected, but that, I mean, that happens. In real life, that's just a really cool verbiage of it. So, props to you. Unprops because thing about it is, he said before that he wouldn't want all of the mystique taken away, numbers-wise, because one, it would just make the game a game of numbers or chance that we knew and could then manipulate, fine-tune. Also, because then somebody could potentially slightly change the code and make a competing product. I remember him writing that somewhere. Maybe he never did, or maybe we can't find it anymore. I'm not going to try to look it up because who cares? Point is, this I understand is kind of vague. Well, really, what this means, which is this was rated too highly compared to their psychology, this is very counterintuitive. Granted, if we were smart, and by we I mean if I was smart, because I'm not about a lot of things, about finding stuff out. Inductive reasoning, I'm good at from a formal standpoint. I'm apparently pretty bad at it in application. We could figure out that well, I can't use Angry Gilmore because he has 92 and that's minimum, and my other diary I talk about this. It's not Steve DeColt and Johnny Bloodstone either, because they just don't have, I believe, they don't have this psychology to call in the ring. Or is that a different note? But let's use them. Both of them actually have poor psychology for a main eventer in a performance promotion. Bloodstone being a bit more annoying because DeColt's obviously from a different school. You put them together, and the problem is, if they're really popular, look at my 2010, my last 2010 diary. Steve DeColt was popular. A little bit. And Bloodstone was Bloodstone was like my number 2 heel. At the time, DeColt was a face. Holmes was a face. Bloodstone, Tornado, and Gurren Lagann, which is the not the machines, the Bobby Thomas and Nate Johnson, the specialists. I just named him that because the precision driller that Phantom Stranger used in his diary, whatever the hell it was called. Screw you guys. That's what it was called. Yeah. Not 10 Simple Rules. That's James Casey. Quiet Retirement. The story of Horatio Alger. Horatio Dangerous. Something. A Quiet Retirement. That one. Precision driller is the thing, and well. Yours is a drill that will pierce the heavens. Ah! So, I monster pushed them. Well, they're really good anyway. Right, so, Bloodstone would be like 4th tier heel. But point is, DeColt and Bloodstone separately had been having ridiculously high matches because 2010 was exploitable. Well, when you're as popular as they were, in a promotion catered to it, yes, you're going to have A-rated matches all the time. They got like a 73 or a 76 to Colt and Bloodstone together. I don't think it was this note, I think it was the different psychology note. But my point is when you have really, really, really popular or really talented guys that don't have the psychology to back it up, you're going to have problems like this. Granted, I mean, it's a good problem to have. Granted, I mean, the 75 is really high. For the rest of the show, look at it. It's really high. It's just, if I wanted to get something like a 77 rated show, I really needed that 80. Or I need the main event to get an 80, which I think I've seen it get an 81, or maybe it's a 75. Anyway, so this is unfortunate, because he's kind of a ring general. He's not that bad. Is he in the 60s? Can't be in the 60s. He's kind of a ring general. Getting that note on one of your ring general guys sucks. And given that he has a hell of a lot of bonuses, yeah, look at this. Star quality, morale, gimmick, and momentum. So star quality is one of the things that doesn't change. Charisma, star quality. Those two. And then high morale and good gimmick and high momentum. So Faust actually has more upside. Matravers doesn't have charisma? What the hell? I thought he could talk. Boom. 2 penalties. I don't think Matravers is the ring general. By the way, that is this. I point at the screen. Davis Wayne Newton is horribly inconsistent. For everything else that he's good at, horribly inconsistent. And I don't think he's that good of a project anymore. Granted, he's what, 23, so he really is, but the 20-year-old Davis Wayne Newton in 2010, very, very nice psychology. The 23-year-old hasn't really moved much. and my whole thing is I need 80 level psychology in the main event. I've said that before. It's in the top tippity top companies. It's not hard and fast. I had Raymond freaking Diaz with a 76, and he had 3 ace. Not true A-star, that's 99 plus for matches, but Hall of Immortal A-stars. He had 3 A-star matches with Jack Avatar, and the godlike Jack Avatar in 2010. I'm sad that you took that, Ryland. So that's, so yeah, you can have main eventers there. I just remembered this note. The issue I have is that it's counterintuitive. What? I thought he had good psychology. Well, what you have to figure out is he does have good psychology, but if you put 2 really good guys with quote unquote poor psychology, in the sense that you'd expect them to, if he doesn't get this note with BW Eddie and he gets this note with Faust, that's the kind of thing where you have to use the inductive reasoning. So I understand why Ryland made it weirdly worded, because he wanted a bit of mystery, but kind of given the way that we're pulling back the curtain all the time on the small questions thread, has this question been asked recently? I've seen other stuff. I've seen stuff that's been asked like 2 pages ago by different people, so it's not just a repost. It's for those of you using this as a guide, read the help file, which actually is not that good this time. These little guys are. Read all of them. Hundreds. Oh yeah. So read those as well, everywhere. Read the small questions thread, the whole freaking thing. Will it take you a while? Yes. Admittedly, there are just a lot of questions and, a couple liners, but read the whole thing. Because there was a time, this is padding. There was a time in a Naruto thread on GameFAQs. I'm not sure why I was reading about whatever the Naruto game was, because I think it was the PS2 game. I don't own a PS2. I really don't care about Naruto, and I don't care about the fighting games typically, which it was. Maybe I had seen it at Best Buy and played it a little bit. I went through a topic. By the time we got to post like 300 or so, people were repeating questions that were asked in the first 100, to where without playing the game, without having seen anything, I could have answered the questions they were having. Granted, is that going above and beyond what I would expect the average person to do? Yes, because, again, I had no reason to be reading that topic about the game, about the thing, and so on and so forth. But read the small questions thread. There you go. Oh, by the way, the finger in the mouth thing, though. Ow. Don't do that over maybe a blister or where I bit the inside of my mouth. That's painful. I can't make the popping sound, though. Other side hurts, too.